Hi, I'm Tiffany. Welcome to Towering TBR. I see we've got some new faces around here, so if you're new, hi, welcome. I'm glad you're here. I read 10 books in the month of March. I'm hoping that this will be a quick update because 2 of them were for the BookTube prize, and I will link that vlog in the cards and in the description below so you can see my thoughts on those books, which were Northwoods by Daniel Mason and Orbital by Samantha Harvey. I'm not even going to talk about them. Just go watch the vlog if you want to hear my thoughts. A further 2 have dedicated videos. The arc I read of The Day Tripper by James Goodhand has its own review, linked above and in the description below, as well as my glowing review of How to Say Babylon by Safiya Sinclair, which will be linked again, all the links. So I'm going to talk about the remaining books that I read that you didn't hear about. I start with my lowest in fiction and work my way up. And then if I have any in nonfiction or any graphic novels, I include those in their own sections. This is going to be timestamped, so feel free to jump around, find the books you're interested in. And if you like bookish videos, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can see all of my bookish content. All right, starting at the lowest. And this was another arc that I read. Unfortunately, I didn't feel like there was really enough to review. So this is a science fiction book that's written in verse. Did I even say the name of the book? Calypso by Oliver K. Langmead. Received this as an arc. And this is a very odd sci-fi. It is written in verse. And unfortunately, the verse really limited how much character development could really happen. This is a novella, and we see these people on a generation ship, and they have been journeying to this new barren planet where they plan to seed human life. The blurb mentions a war, but quite honestly, that wasn't part of the plot, really. I mean, only a tiny bit. It just doesn't seem like he fleshes the characters out very well. And the events at the very end felt so ludicrously absurd that I couldn't suspend my disbelief any longer. And unfortunately, I really didn't like this book. I am giving it 2 stars. If you like experimental stream of consciousness, a lot of atmosphere, not a lot of plot, maybe you would like it better than I do. Speaking of disappointment, though, another 2-star book is Cascade Failure by L.M. Sagas. I was so excited for this. Everybody compared it to Becky Chambers, and I was like, yes, another wonderful found family character-driven sci-fi story. That was what I was expecting. I can see some of the similarities for sure. So we're following Hull, and he is on the run and looking to basically smuggle onto a spaceship and get out because he is a wanted man. And so he joins this crew who intend to turn him over, but on their way to do that, they get a distress beacon and go to help this woman. And in doing so, they uncover a conspiracy, and so Hull is kind of part of the crew. We've got an AI captain, which, did remind me of Becky Chambers. The writing is a mess. It is constantly spoon-feeding you, banging you over the head, repeating things so much, just going over and over. You get the point, but the writing was what really tanked this book. I found a quote that I thought kind of exemplified the writing. You can, and so you will, because you're you. Because he was a good soldier, and in the end, he did what good soldiers did. He did what he had to do. No, don't like that at all. The found family felt very forced. We find out that he has history with one of the crew members on the ship, and they had some sort of conflict, which eventually didn't really seem to matter. I gave this 2 stars. This felt like Becky Chambers fan fiction, and very badly written. I am devastated to say that. I think there's a second book that's coming out in just a couple of months, but I won't be picking it up. Ugh! Frustrating. The Day Tripper by James Goodhand, I gave that 3.5 stars. Again, you can go watch his own review. I go into a lot of detail. But if you liked The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, or you liked Una Out of Order by, I can't think of the author right now, but I'll put it up. If you liked either of those kind of wacky time travel stories with a real emotional element, I would recommend it. I thought it was good for what it was, although I had different expectations. Moving right along to Bright Young Women, I gave this 4 stars. Unfortunately, this was the first book I read in the month, and it has not stuck around very much. So Ted Bundy is an American serial killer, and he infamously killed 2 girls at a sorority house. And so this story never names Ted Bundy. He's only ever called the defendant. But basically, it's from their perspective of the sorority house being broken into and girls being murdered, and basically what that was like to have to go back and live there and deal with the trial and all this stuff. It was interesting. It was definitely trying to give more agency to the victims and less to the perpetrators, which I liked. I then picked up Strangeworlds Travel Agency by L.D. Lapinski. This is a middle grade fantasy about like different portal worlds. This young girl stumbles across this travel agency and realizes that she can see magic. And so she gets inducted into their order or whatever. And all of the adventures are tucked in a suitcase. They have like portal worlds that they can travel to with these little suitcases. It was a lot of fun. It was very fast paced. And I think it's a trilogy. I think there are 2 more. And I'm planning to continue because this was just a ton of fun and adventure. At 4.5 stars, I read The Tainted Cup by Robert Bennett Jackson, I think. This is the beginning of a new fantasy trilogy, and it's a Sherlock Holmes and Watson retelling. So in this fantastical land, there are walled cities, and outside the wall are the seas that have leviathans and other scary monsters in it. We are following Din. He's essentially our Watson, and he goes investigating like abnormal murders. But he has a specific ability called an engraver, and so he can basically memorize everything that the person is saying when they're giving like testimony or telling them about how they discovered the body. Not only can he remember everything that they say, but he can remember their facial expressions. Did they move back? Did they touch their hair? Did they seem happy or sad when they were talking? Like he can basically recreate the scene. And his boss is basically the Sherlock Holmes character who, when given a couple of clues, can put the pieces together. She sees connections that other people don't see. And she's awesome. The magic system was really inventive, and I really liked that. The conspiracies and the plot, I really liked the fact that, I didn't even mention they're trying to solve murders, but the wet season is coming, which means leviathans might be knocking down the walls or coming out of the water. And so they have very limited time to solve this mystery. And it has a very satisfying ending, but I already want more. I'm like, when's the second book coming out? I have to read it. So I kind of wish I wouldn't have read it as early as I did, because now I have to wait. Are you like that? Do you like to like wait until a series is finished before you pick it up, or do you just hop right in and ride the wave of hype? And then I had 2 5 stars. The first 5-star was Birnam Wood by Eleanor Catton. I buddy read this with Audrey from Audrey Approved, linked. And this was exquisite. We're following this eco-thriller group called Birnam Wood, and they are basically planting vegetables on untended plots of land. Basically, if they see land going unused, they then try to use it and be like good stewards of the resources. And one day, the leader of Birnam Wood is checking on the garden that she's growing, and she is caught by someone, this mysterious billionaire. And he's like, don't worry about it. Like, I won't tell that you're using this land. I'll even give you money to like start like to be a real like official charity type thing. And you're like, what's going on with this billionaire? He's a little bit sus. Like, why would he just hand over money and like not tell the people who have this property? Like, there's lots of mysteries. There's lots of twists and turns. And these characters just feel so well developed. They are incredibly flawed. And if you think you know where the story is going, you absolutely don't. Like, the ending was bonkers. And I think that ending is going to be divisive. I think some people will not like how it ended up. But for me, I loved it. I thought that was the perfect ending and absolutely loved it. I'm definitely going to pick up more by her in the future. Have any of you read anything else that she's written? If you have, suggest it down below. If you've read Birnam Wood, What did you think of the ending? Keep it spoiler free, but share your thoughts. The last 5-star is actually a nonfiction book called How to Say Babylon by Safiya Sinclair. I did do its own review, linked up above and in the description below, but it is just a fantastic memoir. She grew up in a Jamaican family that participated in Rastafari, which is a cult or religion depending on perspective. She lived an incredibly controlled life. It was a bad situation, and she eventually escapes. And go check out the other review because I was way more thorough. An absolutely stunning book. She's a beautiful writer. She is a poet, and it really shows. So check that out if you haven't seen it. So that was what I read in March. Sorry, this is so late. If you have any thoughts about any of these books or just want to chat in general, leave me a comment down below and we can have a chat. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye.